We're back. We're back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last where we left off, we were interviewing, or doing a cross-examination between the two couples, Pat and Rory. We're gonna continue that now. Alright. This case has nothing to do with Miss Garrett. Believe me, a London Bobby is good for his word. And now I have to find a contradiction. The windows on the south floor of the Garrett house are top-hinged casemates. If anything had been thrown out of the window, we would have seen it. What happened was I dropped my bouquet and ended up losing my way. Present for Patricia Beat from her husband, Rolly. The shock of seeing the stabbed victim caused Miss Beat to drop the rose where she stood. Okay. Calling officer is expected to walk 20 miles. Yeah, I don't need that. Any crimes falls under the jurisdiction of the beat in which they are discovered. When a crime is discovered on this beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigation and help detective. Trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed. If anything had been thrown out of the window, we would have seen it. Up-hinged, okay, there's nothing wrong with that. Case has nothing to do with Mr. and Mrs. Garrett. Believe me, a London Bobby is good for his word. I don't know what to... Windows on the top floor. Anything had been thrown out of the window, we would have seen it. I did leave the scene to go and fetch help, but my trusty Rolly was there to make sure nothing was disturbed. What happened was I dropped my bouquet and ended up losing my way for a while. Didn't take my eye, so he was watching the crime scene, and you saw nothing strange to report on that front. Unconscious. Reported officer was Rolly Beat. Victim remains unconscious. Her name was gleaned from her personal effects. Other details are unknown. Apart from the single stab from the larger knife, no other signs of injury were observed. I don't know what to press, and I only got 2 chances. So there's nothing wrong with the initial 2. And yeah, if they had seen anything, they would have seen it. There was smoke and mist or whatnot, so they couldn't have seen anything across the road. What happened was I dropped my bouquet, ended up losing my way for a while. How'd you lose your way, though? It's a big gamble, but I'm gonna assume that maybe that
Objection.
Oh, was I right? Oh shit, okay. Honestly, that was just a random guess, but alright, that works. You claim Constable Beat there was nothing to report in the 15 or so minutes you were guarding the scene. But that cannot be. What? Well, what do you mean to say? In your testimony just now, Miss Beat, you explained to the court that when you arrived back at the scene of the crime with the policeman assigned to that beat, the bouquet you had dropped at the victim's side was no longer anywhere nearby.
Objection.
Yes, on the opposite side of Briar Road to where the victim was attacked. But considering the size of that meager bouquet, if a single, sorry bloom can be so described, no doubt it was blown in the wind across the street, back into the gutter where it belongs. Meager?
Objection.
But if that were the case, why did Constable Beat not testify to the fact? No one else approached the scene, and nothing was removed from it. Constable Beat swore to that on Scotland Yard's honor. Oh, that's right. But the bouquet belonged to me. It has nothing to do with the case. That's why Rolly didn't mention it, I'm sure. No, because sadly, it's not only your bouquet we're talking about here. More than one thing in this case is mysteriously the wrong way around. What are you talking about? Think about it. Besides Miss Beat's bouquet, there's Mr. Garrideb's book. Mr. Garrideb's copy of The Lion's Pride, which was thrown out of the window by his wife, would have struck the pane of the casement window and landed here on the west side of the street. And yet, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road, in the victim's hand. Meanwhile, according to the testimony we've heard, Miss Beat's bouquet should have been dropped here at the scene of the crime on the east side of the street. But in fact, it was actually found here on the opposite side of the road in front of Mr. and Mrs. Garrideb's house. There's no logical explanation for those things, unless somebody deliberately moved them. Okay, but I don't really see the significance of it. What are you trying to say? The way you're talking, it sounds like you think my Rolly's done something's wrong. Don't you listen to a word that scrawny lawyer says. Whittering on about books and bouquets. Why should we care? It's nitpicking, that's what it is. Yeah, we kind of agree with her. Oh good, Miss Garrideb's come around. You might call it nitpicking, Miss Garrideb. But deliberately meddling with the scene of a crime is a criminal offense. It's called, tampering, Mr. Naruhodo. But the person responsible for this tampering cannot admit to it, for a very subtle but compelling reason.
Objection.
Tampering? You've barely heard the term before. Tell us, my learned friend, who would possibly have had cause to carry out such an elaborate deception? And there is someone who tampered with the scene of the crime that evening. All the evidence and all the testimony points to that one particular person. Counsel, I must demand that you substantiate this conjecture. Who are you saying is responsible for tampering with the scene of the crime? I mean, the only other person I could think of that could have been tampering was Rolly, since he was there. Unless, wait, no, actually no, because he was at station there. The only other person that could have been moving around was Patricia, so I'm gonna say it's her.
Take that!
No. There's only one person who could have done this. Do you intend to share your internal monologue, Counsel? Sorry, my lord. I was just taking a moment to get things straight in my mind. And for that moment of wasted court's time, you will pay the price. Oh, shit. Me, or are things getting more strict around here? What you were thinking is right, Mr. Naruhodo. There's only one person who had the opportunity to tamper with the scene of the crime. There can be no mistake. But there's no point overthinking this. There's really only one option. Yeah, I need an answer, Counsel. Well, I mean, the only other person would have been this guy?
Take that!
Okay, so... Okay, the reason why I thought it was the wife, because she was the only one that stated that she was moving around. But alright, I guess it was the husband. Obviously, there's only one person that could have done it. Constable Rolly Beat. It was you. What? A policeman? A member of Scotland Yard? What nonsense. Why would my Rolly do something like that? There's no one straighter than my husband. No Bobby works more tirelessly for the people of London. Miss Beat, you said in your testimony that your husband asked you to go to a nearby police box to fetch the officer on duty. The 15 minutes that you were absent from the scene is the only opportunity anyone had to tamper with it. You're making it up. It's all nonsense. It's all lies. What about the Japanese man with the whiskers? I bet it was him. He did it.
Objection!
If that was true, Constable Beat would have seen him do it. Oh. And forgive me for pointing it out, but when you dropped your bouquet, Miss Beat, it was after the defendant had fled the scene. Well...
Objection!
First you make accusations about the landlord and his wife, and now you incriminate a policeman as well? But your accusations lack one very important thing. You claim the crime was tampered with, but there is only one reason anyone would commit such a reckless crime: to hide something. That's right, he's right. But my husband and I just happened to be there, that's all. So why would we have anything to hide? It doesn't make any sense. You've offered no motive for this alleged tampering, and until you do, your accusations are nothing but empty threats. Constable B had a very good reason for wanting to tamper with the scene of the crime. That's the key to this entire affair. Mr. Naruhodo, have you managed to solve this mystery? Counsel, you have made a very serious accusation against a London police officer. If you are mistaken, I'm sure I need not point out that reputation as a lawyer will be irrevocably damaged. With that stark warning in mind, you will now explain to the court the motive for this alleged tampering. Yes, my lord. Oh, crap. Constable Beat's motive for tampering with the crime scene was to hide. Oh, God. Constable Beat's motive for tampering with the crime scene was to hide... Was it to hide where the book fell? It has to be the book. The book? Where the book fell to the ground. That's what he had to cover up at all costs. And why exactly? Hmm? Oh, well, of course. The reason is, do you have something to hide, my learned friend? Or it seems you're unwilling to share the reason with the court. Oh, no! Ah, crap. Okay, hold on. Ah! Brother. Oh, I messed up hard, dude. Ugh. Alright. Oh, okay. That was but why would he hide where? Okay, so the other two options are okay.
Objection.
That doesn't make sense to me though. Why would he tamper with the crime scene to hide the fact where the body victim fell, maybe? No. But why the bouquet then? Why is it the bouquet? I don't understand that. That makes no sense to me. Game is like wacky.
Objection.
Yeah, let's blitz through this. Oh god. Doesn't make sense. Why would he lie about where the bouquet fell? Makes no sense. I'm so confused.
Objection. Take that.
I gotta blitz through this.
Objection.
Okay, yeah, I'm very curious as to why he would tamper evidence to hide the fact where the bouquet. Okay, this is where the bouquet fell to the ground. That's what he had to cover up at all costs. And why exactly? Hmm? Oh, well, of course the. What? Wait, so it wasn't the bouquet? What? Wait, so it wasn't the bouquet and it wasn't the book, it was the victim? Where the victim fell? Okay, I gotta know. So it was where the victim fell? Where the victim fell to the ground. That is what this Bobby had to cover up at all costs. What? Where the victim fell? You mean where she was attacked? What are you talking about? We told you at the very start, didn't we? On the pavement of Briar Road. We saw it happen, remember? It was right here, as if anyone didn't already know. That's certainly what everybody has been led to believe. But in fact, that isn't where the victim was stabbed at all. What? What? Wait, what? I'm so confused. I'm beginning to wonder where the tumultuous trial will end, Counsel. If that's your assertion, then the court is dying to know, my Nipponese friend. Where are you proposing that the crime actually took place that evening? I mean, if that's true, then okay. So in this case, the only logical explanation then is that the crime scene wasn't on the right side, it was on the left side. And that's why the book was there. So whoever was there, they put the book in her hand, stabbed, or yeah, she probably got stabbed here, and they dragged her body over to the opposite side. So that's what I'm assuming. But that's on the opposite side of the road? I don't understand. On the evening in question, Mr. Gerardov's book fell directly down from the open window above, and your bouquet, Miss B, never moved at all. What did move was the scene of the crime itself. Good gracious!
Objection!
Yeah, but okay. Perhaps you haven't been listening to the ample testimony the court has heard. But these witnesses both saw the moment the attack took place.
That's right. I saw it with my own eyes.
It was 5 o'clock in the evening and already dark. There was the typical London fog on the ground. When you saw the incident unfold and ran to the victim's aid, that was actually on the west side of Briar Road.
No, that's not true. It can't have been.
Constable Beat then arranged for you to be absent for a while by sending you for help. And during the 15 minutes you were away, he transplanted the crimes. Okay. Gotcha. He moved all the things shown to this point. The victim herself, the 4 books. He moved everything, in fact, to the pavement on the east side of Briar Road. Extraordinary. But the constable overlooked one thing.
What? What did he overlook?
The bouquet, I presume. Oh, okay. So he tricked his wife into making her think that the crime scene was on the right side, which is why she lost her bouquet, or didn't know where it was. The prosecution told the court just a few minutes ago about the discovery of the rose bouquet. Lord Van Zeek said it wasn't noticed until the morning as it lay where the street lamps cast no light. Yes, it couldn't be seen in the dark, obviously. Which is why it was only the bouquet that was found in its original position on the pavement on the west side of Briar Road. And that is the defense's theory about what really happened that evening. How do you respond? Constable Rolly Beat. Well, I'm very sorry. I didn't mean to nod off again, but I haven't slept properly in a month. Did I miss anything important?
Oh, Rowley. It isn't true, is it? What the lawyer said is all lies, isn't it? I know it is, because you're the most upstanding, righteous man I know.
I had a dream. A terrible dream. All the things I did that night. Everything. Come out. Everything was... Only, it seems... It wasn't a dream at all. Good golly! Wait, did he... Oh god, don't tell me he was sleepwalking. Order! Order! What on earth is the meaning of all this?
Oh, Rowley, why? Why would you do something like this? Moving a corpse is a criminal offense, isn't it?
Wishing the victim dead should be one too. Constable, explain yourself. Why would you do this? As a respected member of Scotland Yard, your duty is to protect the good people of London Town. I can't say, sir. What? I really am ever so sorry about all this. Damaging the Yard's reputation for everything. I have a possible explanation for why on that particular evening, Constable Beat felt compelled to move the scene of the crime. I can think of one reason. What? How could you possibly know? You... a foreigner? presuming to understand the mind of a Scotland Yard policeman. And yet, Lord Van Zeeks, it is this foreigner who has uncovered the startling truth of the matter thus far. I believe it would be beneficial to the court to hear this extraordinary young lawyer's theory. Counsel for the defense, if you please. Yes, my lord. Now then, I think you had better show us some evidence. At once, my lord. England, Japan, it makes no difference where you come from. Human emotions are the same. I think I have a fairly good idea of the feelings behind this man's actions. What gives away the motive for Constable Beat's unthinkable action? It's either that or it's I'm gonna take a gander, and it's hold on, I'm gonna save here just so we don't waste time. I'm going to assume it's probably something to do with this. Patrolling officer is expected to walk 20 miles around his beat every day for the furtherance of community relations. A policeman will strive to preserve peace within his allotted beat. Any crimes fall under the jurisdiction of the beat in which they are discovered. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. What gives away the motive for Constable Beat's unthinkable actions? Or maybe it's... Wait, is it... What is the motive for Constable Beat's unthinkable action? I want to say it's because of the bouquet. Human emotions are all the same. Hold on, let me read back. Human emotions are the same. I think I have a fairly good idea of the feeling behind this man's action.
Take that!
Oh, okay, so it was. I realize that I am a foreigner in this land, and I have only just arrived from Japan, which is why all this information about London's so-called bobbies is completely new to me. I've learned that, though honorable, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world. For example, keeping the peace, looking after the citizens on this beat in all kinds of ways. There's no doubt that the young Bobby is charged with a great deal to do each day, certainly. But for Constable Beat, the day in question was special. Special? How? On account of this bouquet, my lord.
Oh, yes. It was our first wedding anniversary.
Oh, wait a minute. Constable B had worked so hard to be able to afford the simple gift for his wife, and was so looking forward to taking her out for a celebratory meal, when he and Miss Beat stumbled upon a crime along Briar Road. When he saw that the shadowy figure through the fog collapsed on the pavement ahead of them, what must have gone through the man's mind? What must have gone through the man's mind? But sir, just on that particular one day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding anniversary. Miss Beat puts up with a lot being married to a Bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I care. This is the warrant card that Constable Beat offered to lend to me earlier. Inside, among the rules for patrolling policemen, it says, when a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Aha! Constable Beat. Is that, or is that not the reason why you moved the whole scene of the crime that day? Yes. Everything you said. It's all right. So that's it. It was all to do with the boundary of your beat.
Oh,
Exactly. To summarize, the incident actually occurred on Constable Beat's beat. Good gracious! Constable, do you realize the gravity of what you have done? It was the first time since I became a copper that I'd ever cursed God. Stay close to me, Pat. The criminal could still be lurking somewhere. As we ran over to the scene, I had every intention of doing my duty as a police officer. We've got to report this to the station as quickly as possible. But then it dawned on me. I realized where we were, where the victim was lying, and what that meant for me. When a crime is discovered on his beat, a policeman must assist with initial investigations and help detectives. Why here? Why does this have to happen here? Oh, okay. So he did this because it was his wedding anniversary, and he realized that if he went through with this, and if he didn't move the body, he would have to basically spend that day with the investigation. So he moved it so that it would be off his beat. And why tonight of all nights? Why? Damn. It's a copper's job to guard the scene of the crime, so I told Pat she'd have to go to the nearest police box and fetch whoever was on duty there. It was then, when I opened my mouth to speak, it just came out. I couldn't believe the words that were coming out of my own mouth. This is the next beat to mine, Pat. You'll have to go to the police box that covers it. Turn right along Meerschaum Street and then... That's too bad. I mean, okay, to be fair, it was the guy's wedding. And this man has to walk, what, 20 miles every day? With no breaks? Like, man, these coppers need a fucking break. Like, doing that much work for a kid like him? Yeah, anyone would break. Oh, no. Oh, Raleigh. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Oh, Rolly. Oh, Constable. Oh, jeez, everyone's tearing up. I just wanted, just that one night, to take my Patricia out for dinner. Oh, Rolly. Oh, Rolly. Dude. Oh, I feel bad for him now. Just that one night. You knew that if the incident was on your beat, your evening of celebration would be ruined. And so you decided to move the entire crime scene outside your jurisdiction. Just across the street to the east pavement of Briar Road, which falls under the neighboring beat's care. You see, I thought, well, I was sure the victim was dead, you see. I beg your pardon?
oh, of course he did. Otherwise, my Rolly would never have left the poor woman on the freezing cold pavement.
Ah, I see you are meaning now. But God got me back for my sins, didn't he? That's why I missed the rose I bought for Pat.
Oh no, Rolly, that was all my fault. I should never have dropped it in such a dark place. I'm so sorry, Rolly.
And you can tell us, Constable. How many books did you move from the one side of the road to the other in total? Oh, 4. It was... Yes, sir, definitely 4. 3 of them dropped by Mr. Natsume, and the 4th being the one that fell from the window upstairs in the Garrett household, of course. But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? When all the others were scattered haphazardly around, I mean. Oh, well, sir, that's because that's how I found it. Oh, you found it? What do you mean? when we first ran over to the scene, the victim was already holding the book. So when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand. You're sure it was this book, The Lion's Pride, that the victim was holding? Oh, yes, sir. No doubt about it, sir. Interesting. I thought it was an open and shut case at the time, you see. There were only the two people at the scene, and Pat and me both saw it happen. However, which way you looked at it, it had to be the fellow who ran off who done it, I thought. I couldn't see the harm, really. I didn't think moving it all over the road would make a jot of a difference. I suppose this is it for me now. I've had it. My lord. Yes, Lord Van Zieks? I believe that concludes the cross-examination of the witnesses. Constable, you may withdraw. Yes, sir.
Mr. Prosecutor, sir. What will become of my Rolly? What will happen to him?
For now, you are free to go home. The police will contact you in due course.
Please, don't punish my husband. This was all my fault. It's because I'm always moaning at him for coming home late.
Leave it now, Pat. Let's go home. I'm tired.
All right then, my love.
One last thing, Constable. Sir? Let this be a lesson to you. In a criminal investigation, every detail matters, however insignificant it may seem to you. Yes, sir. Carve that lesson in your mind. And never again make the mistake of tampering with the scene of a crime. Never again, sir. You mean to say... Just leave now. This trial is not yet over. Oh, that's okay. You know what, Van Ziek's got a little bit of a soft side. He's like he gets it. He understands that the guy who's trying to do it for his wife and all that. So he's like, just don't do it again. Sir. Oh. I guess now he gets to spend some time with his wife now. That's cool. Well, quite a startling revelation, I must say. Whoever thought of a third party transplanting the entire scene of a crime like that? Indeed, my lord. Nevertheless, there are some immutable facts here, principally. That the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume, is the only person who could have possibly have committed this crime. No, I disagree. Now that we know the true scene of the incident, there is someone else. Another person who could be responsible for the knife in the victim's back.
Forgive me for being presumptuous, but I believe the prosecution is probably well aware of this possibility already.
Lord Van Zieks, is this true? Very well. Name the person if you will, and if further investigation is warranted, the prosecution has no objection to the trial continuing. You will name this other person who could have perpetrated the crime. Other person? Okay, so I'm gonna save. Because again, I might fuck up here, but the only other person I could think of that could have done it was Miss Garridev. So...
Take that!
Oh god. The defense would once again like to... Oh yeah. The defense would once again like to request the cross-examination of a new witness, my lord. Once again? Alright, we asked for her earlier. My assistant made the same request earlier, in order to finally reveal the truth about this case. It's imperative that we cross-examine juror number 4, Miss Joanne Garridev.
Me? Me? Oh, dearie me.
Objection!
That request has already been denied.
Objection.
But the situation is very different now. Miss Garrideb, answer me this.
What do you want now, you little toad?
At the time of the incident, you were engaged in a violent argument with your husband, Mr. John Garrideb. In the course of the argument, a minor house fire was ignited. And to clear the smoke from the room, your husband opened a window that looks out over Briar Road.
Well, what of it?
You threw this book at your husband when he was cornered with his back against the window. Upon striking the pane of the open-top hinged casement window, the book plummeted directly down. Finding its way to what we now know to be the true scene of the incident.
Yes, and as I said, what of it?
During the argument, you were beside yourself with rage. As such, you threw not just books, but anything you could lay your hands on. So, let me ask you one more time, Miss Garrideb. This knife, the one removed from the victim's back, have you really never laid eyes on it before?
I don't recall it.
Seriously?
Am I supposed to remember everything I picked up and threw at my husband? And anyway, the man over there is all that regalia said members of the jury needn't testify, didn't he?
Conveniently, yes.
Objection.
No, I have no recollection of saying that at all. Juror number 4.
Oh!
Make no mistake, you jurors are not special in any way. You are not immune to the judicial process. If you know something about this knife, madam, let the truth come out.
But that's just a common or garden knife. It could have come from anywhere. We have several like that at home. If one went missing, how would you expect me to know?
What's that? Are you joking? What are you saying? Please, Miss Garrideb. Oh, everyone's like, yo, what the fuck?
Now you listen to me. I refuse to believe all this nonsense. I couldn't bear the thought that I'd injured someone. Do you hear? I couldn't bear it.
Oh, the poor woman.
So, yes, I want evidence. I want to see hard evidence if you're going to insist on this being my fault. You're going to have to prove to me that I threw that knife if that's what you think. Come along now. Chop chop. Do your worst.
Well, Mr. Naruhodo, if I had evidence like that, believe me, I would have thrown it at her already. Then take the stand, juror.
Oh?
The prosecution does not object to the defense's request to cross-examine this woman. Thank you, Lord Van Zieks.
I'm going to have to testify?
Juror number 4, as I'm sure you will appreciate having observed it with your own eyes today. Witness testimony can lead to the most extraordinary truths being unearthed. Truths of which the witnesses themselves may not even have been aware.
Oh, dearie me.
So I demand your full and unadulterated testimony, Miss Garrideb. And mark my words, in this court of law today, we shall extract the truth. Do you concur, counsels? Certainly, my lord. Oh, that's what I'm hoping for, my lord. Okay. So, this is such a strange feeling. For the first time since arriving in this country, it actually feels real. I'm here in the Old Bailey, and I'm a lawyer. Okay, so this is all probably because of an accident. Witness, state your name and occupation.
Oh, yes, my name is Joanne Garrideb. And I'm, well, I'm a juror, and such like.
Sounds like even she doesn't know if she's a housewife or a maid, or what anymore. The court has decided your testimony is required in order to clarify matters in this case. Do you understand, madam?
Yes, my lord.
You will tell the court everything that took place in your household on the evening in question. And I warn you, do not attempt to hide the truth.
Oh, dearie me.
Get up, Hermione. Nothing to worry about now. What? Where'd you come?
Oh, I didn't know you were here, John.
Was it only you in the room that day, old thing? Was it? Rather think. I ought to testify as well, don't you?
But what about your knee, dear?
Don't you worry about that. Hardly notice it. I'm not the sort of chap to leave a comrade to face disciplinary action alone.
Oh, John.
I presume you are Mr. John Gerda? Yes, sir. Former 2nd Lieutenant of the 3rd Regiment of the 4th Northumberland Fusiliers, sir. Seen my fair share of action and now living the quiet life, as it were. The quiet life? Were you not engaged in an incendiary battle with your spouse on the day in question? Well, yes. Quite. I believe this may represent a first in the proud history of the British court. Calling a juror to the witness stand is unprecedented. However, the court will hear your testimony now, juror number 4, and that of your husband. You will recount clearly and concisely the events in your home at the time of the incident in question. Sir, at once. Alright, here we go. Yes, I was on the day you're referring to, the wife and I did have a bit of a skirmish. Can't recall the reason now. Knocked a candlestick over and set fire to the carpet. Soon had it out, though, got the window open.
Meanwhile, I was picking up whatever I could find to throw at him.
Plenty of knives around our place. Can't say I noticed if 1 or 2 went missing, I'm afraid. That bally thing in the victim's back really was one of ours. You'll have a job proving it, I think. It sounds as though it was quite the battlefield in your household that evening. Although an entirely one-sided assault, it seems. The enemy caught us on the hop, sir. Had no choice but to dig in and take defensive measures. To be honest, if the enemy had kept shelling us for another minute, we'd have been toast. Of course, a veteran such as myself is only too aware that on every battlefield, just a gnat's whisker from death at any moment. Are we still talking about a marital quarrel here, guys? Well, I must say I'm dubious that this testimony will shed any light on the origins of this jackknife. In combat, one's focus narrows such that surroundings are barely noticed. These witnesses may not be able to offer anything more than they have testified already. This may be a dead end. Van Seeks may well be right. Well, whatever the chances, we only have this last cross-examination to uncover the truth, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah, I'm afraid so. Very well, Counsel. Begin your cross-examination. Yes, on the day.
Hold it!
Oh god, I might bring it up. The reason is what you told us yesterday, I believe. Yes, that's right. If I remember correctly, it all started because of a note that was tucked onto the pages of a book belonging to Mr. Gerardov. A rather passionate note, in fact. But Miss Gerardov found the note in discovering her husband's little secret. And she gave him a mighty number of slaps across the face for it, too. What a sordid state of affairs. Hell on earth. I say, when a chap says he can't recall such things, it's common decency not to drag it all up. Besides, half of it was wide of the mark anyway.
A likely story.
These waters run very deep. And what transpired next after these multiple blows to the face?
Hold it!
And the fire also spread to some items of furniture, didn't it? The bookcase, my armchair, anything of mine, really. Just so happens there was some bathwater around that evening, so I sloshed that about to put it out. A most precarious situation you put yourself in. Ours is a 3-story townhouse on the west side of the street, where the water main isn't connected yet. Have to draw water from a public water pump during the day if you need any, you see.
The lodgers are always moaning that they can't get any water at night. Although, that little mustached Japanese man buys water in bottles, I believe.
The defendant, Mr. Natsume, you mean?
Yes, he receives a stipend for his studies, you know, from his home country. Can you imagine being able to brew a pot of tea at all hours? He's obviously very well off.
Have you actually seen the state of the man?
I believe he uses all of his income to buy books.
Well, anyway, the point is, I was able to douse the fire with water, fortunately enough.
Hold it!
Even though the room was on fire?
As far as I was concerned at the time, it was more important to extinguish my anger than the flames. When a woman wants to throw, she must throw.
That is most certainly not true of a Susato takedown, Mr. Naruhodo. How did she know I was thinking that? So, please cast your mind back and try to remember. Was the knife among the items that you threw at your husband that day?
In all honesty, I don't recall. But I feel I must point out that I'm no monster. Let me see. Some bread, a cabbage, garlic, a towel, and a sponge. A napkin.
Oh?
Excuse me.
Yeah, excuse me, Mr. Garrett. You have something to add, sir? Mr. Garrett. Don't shoot. Sorry, I beg your pardon. Did your wife's remark just now bring something to your mind? Nothing of any significance, no. Just that the barrage of projectiles the old thing launched in my direction was somewhat more solid than she implies. Books, bricks, and the fire poker, I seem to recall. Ouch. And the woman's aim is uncanny. She landed a direct hit with every volley. Ah! What a great woman. We're not at home now. This is a court of law.
Oh, dearie me. Ever so sorry, dear.
What's she even doing with a teapot in here?
Honestly, John, I would never have thrown such things at you, obviously.
Well, take a look at this then. How do you suppose that happened, Your pipe, sir? I had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles she did, yes. And when I went to pick the thing up, it was broken in two. I like to see a sponge do that sort of damage. I see. Your pipe was broken. It would never have been sent flying unless it was hit by something pretty solid. Anyway, I've managed to bandage the thing up for now.
Ah, you are one to exaggerate, aren't you, dear?
I wonder what we should make of this account. That could be important. The defense believes Mr. Garrett's remarks just now to be of great significance.
Objection!
This war veteran's words only tell us one thing. Betray a fiery wife and pipes, as well as hearts, may be broken. Sentimental wisdom, perhaps, but hardly worthy of adding to the formal testimony. Indeed. Common sense, one might say. Might one? In that case, would you at least permit us to examine the pipe, sir? Well, I don't see why not.
Oh, dearie me. There you go again, trying to ingratiate yourself with a young lady.
Very well. The court will accept the gentleman's pipe as evidence. Okay.
I hope I didn't speak out of turn, Mr. Naruhodo. I was just feeling rather disappointed for you that your request was turned down.
Oh, no, it's fine. Thanks to Susato-san, we have some new evidence to work with. We should examine it carefully. Well, thank you for that, rebuttal, Mr. Garrett. Now, if we could return to the crux of the matter. What can you tell the court about the knife used to attack the victim? Okay, let me check this out. Oh, something just twinkled inside the chamber of the pipe there. Or pipe there. Yes, I saw it. Something stuck in there, I think. Let's turn it over and give it a shake. What's this? It's a tiny fragment of metal. It looks like the tip of a blade or something. Tip of a blade? Surely it couldn't be. Oh, Interesting. That Bali thing in the victim's back really was one of ours. You have our job proving it, I think. Alright, I'm gonna save again. Now, the question is whether I press the evidence eye on this or that. I mean, we're stuck in...
Objection!
No. Okay. Then I guess it's the other. Oh, it's storming. Oh, no. Try to skip through this.
Objection!
Okay, there we go. Mr. Garrideb, could I ask you to take a good look at this, please? You can ask, but I can't really see a bally thing. You can't? You used to call me Deadeye Deb back to the regiment. Back in the regiment, of course, but that was some time ago now. Even when I'm trying to enjoy a large print book by the fire these days. Struggle to tell a B from a D and a P from a Q, to be honest.
Oh, he does, dearie me. It's rather wearing being asked about every other letter and every other word.
You must be very juicy? What? What is that? Tiny scrap of metal? Yes, almost certainly from the tip of a blade. And what may appear at first to be just a tiny scrap is in fact a crucial piece of evidence. Interesting. Where did the defense come by this evidence? It was lodged in the chamber of Mr. Garrideb's pipe. A pipe, you say? By Jove, wonder how that got there. And what precisely does this fragment of metal signify, Counsel? Are you suggesting that it is in some way related to the matter of the stabbing on Briar Road? I am. What? When put together with another piece of evidence already in the court record, I believe this tiny fragment of metal will unravel the whole truth of this case, my lord. Oh god, his butt. Butt's on fire. You appear rather confident in that extraordinary statement, Counsel. Very well then, present the evidence to the court. What evidence, when paired with this fragment of metal, allegedly reveals the truth of this entire case? Alright, let's try and open it. Ah.
Take that!
This is the knife that was found in the victim's back. If you look closely, you will see that there is a small piece at the tip of the blade that is missing. A common issue with the inferior blades sold at unsavory street markets. Criminals who use them regularly leave the tips lodged in their victims' bones. And what of this particular knife? No doubt its tip has suffered a similar fate, now languishing somewhere near the spine of the victim.
Objection!
No, that's not the case. The tip of this particular knife's blade is the very fragment of metal we discovered in the chamber of Mr. Garrideb's pipe. grief! Lord Van Zix! I don't believe it. The knife from the crime scene and this fragment of metal are a perfect match. Good golly gosh! Oh my god, we solved it! Order! 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 Is this some sort of Eastern sorcery? This is no magic, my lord. This is a miracle. A miracle? So Van Zieks has figured it out, has he? Council, explain this extraordinary coincidence at once. Yes, my lord. The crucial point we have to ask ourselves here is when did the fragment of metal find its way inside Mr. Garrideb's pipe? Something that was clarified for us in the most recent witness testimony. I had this thing in my hand as usual at the time of the onslaught. Knocked it clean out with one of her soft projectiles she did, yes. It would never have been sent flying until it was hit by something pretty solid. Oh, dearie. Me. During the argument between these two that occurred just as the victim was on the pavement below, Miss Garrideb flung this knife at her husband. However, the knife missed Mr. Garrideb instead, striking the pipe in his hand at the time, which caused the tip to break off, of course. Good lord. Yes, and that is when the tiny tip of the blade found its way inside Mr. Garrideb's pipe. The chances of that are 1,000,000 to 1. And yet there's no other credible explanation for how the tip of the blade ended up in your pipe. Then, after losing its tip, the knife ricocheted off the pipe and flew out of the open window. In short, this knife which fell from the window of the Garrideb's house is the very same knife that struck the victim in the middle of the back on the street below.
Oh gosh. Oh dear. Oh. No!
Oh my god, she's so short.
Objection!
A full-bodied theory, I'll give you that. A complex bouquet of seemingly trivial points, plausibly arranged to create an almost passable vintage. Allow me to toast my learned friend's characteristically Nipponese approach to bottling his argument. Sorry? But after all, it is just a theory. The bottle, I fear, is corked. As you see, it's spoilt by an insurmountable inconsistency. An insurmountable... What? Lord Van Zix, explain yourself. What is this inconsistency you claim to have identified? An inconsistency of the simplest nature, my lord. The victim was found with the knife planted in the middle of her back. Yeah, in her...
That's right, you silly little man.
Now, Joanne, old thing, what are you getting so excited about? Let us consider the basic facts of the case once more. The victim was walking along the pavement before being stabbed in the back and falling to the ground. If the knife that struck her had fallen from above, there's no possible way it could have planted itself into the victim's back. Ah, but that's where the book comes in. Ah! Order! Order!
Right, you see. That's exactly right. If the knife had fallen on her from above, it would have struck her on top of her head.
Well, he's lost for words, look. I knew it. I never liked his theory in the first place. I don't know, though. What really did happen? It would appear the defense has made rather a spectacular blunder. If a theory has even one inconsistency, it cannot stand. Your theory, my learned friend, is history. We were so close to see the truth. I was so sure we were on the right track. But now the way has been blocked completely. One simple inconsistency. Or in other words, we simply need to eliminate that one inconsistency. The theory will stand. Mr. Sato. You mustn't worry, Mr. Naruhodo. You were just caught off guard, that's all. And your mind went blank. But if the path you were on is indeed correct, then a way will present itself. Key to this is in the court record, I'm sure. All the information you need is there. It seems you have nothing to say, my Nibonese friend. Well, your silence speaks volumes. A tacit acceptance that your theory is fatally flawed.
Objection!
This inconsistency doesn't mean I was on the wrong track. It means that I need to sharpen my mind and dig deeper for the truth. It's a test. Yes. If the knife fell on the victim from above, there's no way that it could have hit her in the middle of her back. Under normal circumstances, that is. What are you implying? Counsel? There is a piece of evidence in the court record that can explain this inconsistency. That can explain how the knife that fell from above could have pierced the victim's back. We already have the answer.
Goodness.
Utter madness. Surely this must be the last time. Counsel, present the evidence of which you speak. This is the last inconsistency, the final piece in the puzzle. If I can successfully make sense of this, the truth will be laid bare at last. The evidence that explains how the falling knife became lodged in the victim's back is... Okay, let me save again. Gotta be the book. So what probably happened was the book came out, hit her in the head, and then it stabbed her.
Take that!
This, the fourth book found at the scene. This is the final piece of evidence the defense will present. The burnt book? Is that not Mr. Gerda's book? Yes, and to understand its significance, we have to consider how it came to be at the scene in the first place. This photographic print clearly shows the book in question, and the victim holding it in her hand. But as we all now know, it was the police constable that put the book between her fingers like that. Quite so, as part of this wholesale transplanting of the crime scene to the opposite side of the road. That's true. However, as part of this testimony, Constable Beat made an extremely enlightening statement on the point. But what made you place that book in the victim's hand? Oh, well, sir, that's because that's how I found it. When we first ran over to the scene, the victim was already okay, so it didn't hit her head, so what probably happened was she saw the book come down, it landed right in front of her, she probably bent down to grab it, but then she got stabbed by the knife that fell right after that. And that's where they heard the scream and she fell. So when I moved everything, I made sure it was still in her hand. Okay. In other words, the victim had already picked up the book of her own volition. And clearly, that must have been before she suffered the knife wound. Well, I should say so. After being attacked with a knife, I don't imagine she'd have been doing much of anything. So the question becomes, why did the victim have that book in her hand? By Jingo! I think I'm beginning to see what may have happened now.
Oh, dearie me.
We know that the book fell from the top floor of the Garrett household onto the pavement below, at precisely the moment that the victim was walking past. Yes, at exactly that moment, the young woman was walking along the street in the light fog, when all of a sudden, a book fell right in front of her.
The book I threw?
Yes, Miss Garrett, and what do you think the woman did? What would you do if you were walking along and suddenly a book landed in front of you on the pavement?
Well, I really can't imagine it, but I suppose she might have reached down
Oh no.
and picked the book up.
Yes, that is exactly what the woman in fact did. She picked up the book.
Oh heavens!
And when the woman reached down to pick the fallen book up, What position would her back have been in? That's right, facing the sky, completely and utterly defenseless. Then, in the very next moment, while the woman was still bent over picking up the book. Oh, that is bad luck. Oh god. The next object fell from the room above, the jackknife, straight into the middle of her back. And at that same time, walking by chance directly behind Miss Green, was the defendant, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Well, I never. It appeared to Mr. Natsume that the woman simply collapsed on the floor. In the dark and the fog, he didn't see the knife falling on her from above. And from the other direction, the constable and his wife saw no one but the victim and her apparent attacker. So there never was a real culprit to run from the scene in the first place. No, this was nothing more than a series of unlikely events that culminated in an unfortunate accident. And that is the real truth behind the case. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Gyarados? The very first time you showed me that knife, I had my suspicions. I wondered if perhaps it might have been something like that. There, old bean. Poor Miss Gyarados. Of course, I never meant for anything of the sort to happen, but it was all my fault, wasn't it? I take full responsibility. I let my anger get the better of me. I threw that book. And I threw the knife as well. John, dear. It's all right. I know. I'm ever so sorry. Truly. I'm sorry. Oh, someone gonna... Okay. Oh god. Oh, he's barely lift. Oh, okay. Oh my god. He's got like power squat. Uh-oh. Okay. Okay. Well, it's good to know that this was all just a series of misfortune. Old Van Zieks, what news of Miss Gyarados? She's been taken to the infirmary. It would appear that today's events had left her in an especially flustered state. However, I believe she will recover in due course. There is no cause for concern. Yes, unbeknownst to themselves, they caused what could easily have been a terrible tragedy. They shall have to prepare themselves for the consequences of their actions. Oh. Wait, hold on. Well, what are they gonna... Okay. There is some good news, however, my lord. I have just had word from the hospital where the victim is being treated. Her condition is improving steadily, and the doctor believes she will regain consciousness soon. It's strange. We've been talking about the victim all this time, but we've never once met her. How wonderful. The woman is out of danger, it seems. Yeah, that is good news. So, Mr. Soseki's Natsume. Oh, what was that? Oh, sorry. Yes. On behalf of my fellow countrymen, I would like to take this opportunity to beg your pardon, sir. You came from your distant eastern homeland to study our great British culture, and have been repaid with immeasurable unkindness. Please, accept our heartfelt apologies. No, it is me who should be begging your pardon. Oh no, Mr. Natsume. That evening, when the young woman just collapsed on the pavement before my eyes, I jumped to the wrong conclusion again, in my confusion. What conclusion, sir? I was sure that the woman was dead. Yes, Constable Beats said the same thing, didn't he? He thought she had been killed, too. I suppose she must have looked completely lifeless. It's been about a year since I arrived in Great Britain now, but I still can't get used to life here.
I can't relax. I'm sure there are evil spirits lurking in the fog, like they're haunting me. Poor Saseki-san. His imagination really has got the better of him. Yes, poor man. So when it happened, I thought the young woman had been taken by the fog spirits. I should never have dropped my books like that and run away. I should have called for help, for a doctor, for the police. Instead, I've managed to create a rift in the relationship of trust between our two empires. And for that, I am truly sorry. One could indeed say that some sort of mischievous spirit has been at work here, I think. One that created a chain of unfortunate mishaps. We were befooled by the spirit and led to false conclusions. Thanks to Lord Van Zieks and our young lawyer here from the east, that chain has now been broken. The spirit exorcised. I heartily commend you both. Oh. Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Yes, my lord. In concluding this trial, I must ask one last time for your decision regarding the defendant's culpability. Are you ready to present your findings to the court? As the foreman of this jury, I can assure you we've reached a fair and just conclusion. I do declare the truth can be extremely cruel at times. Well, I didn't suspect the woman next to me, that's for sure. Sitting in for the old bean whilst she's out of action, you know, but I know what her decision would be. Does this mean I'll finally be able to get out of here and start work? Well, it's about time.
I say, I'll have a corker for a story to tell the grad show when I get home. Would I?
Very well, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby demand your final decisions. Mr. Foreman?
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
Boom. Woo! We did it! Our second court case. Very well, Mr. Saseki Natsume. I hereby pronounce you not guilty. Woo! Yeah! A real celebration this time. And finally, Mr. Natsume.
Oh, yes, Lord, sir.
You are now a free man once again. It is my hope that you will continue to further your education in British culture. And may you never again be brought before me.
Oh, yes, sir, of course. On my life, I swear, I'll never set foot in a courtroom again. I'm transported to tears.
Thank you, counsels. Court is adjourned. All right, we did it.
Oh, Locum.
Wait, you mean me?
Of course. Is there another Locum here?
Is there even one?
Compared to the original Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, your name has become rather short, hasn't it? What's wrong with using my actual name? Oh, at last. Oh, at last. I'm free. I'm free. Joyful, joyous, jubilance, jubilation. Heady, hearty, happiness, hurrah. Oh, I am pleased. Mr. Natsume is delighted.
Would it be so hard just to say that then?
Welcome. You did it. You saved me from the brink.
Well, what happened to the poor woman was in no way your fault after all. I'm just glad everyone can see that now.
No, not that. Lovely, loyal, Locum lawyer.
Yes?
I mean, as I said before, I've just never got used to life here in Great Britain. Every time I look over my shoulder, I see foreigners. I see towering brick buildings. And from high up windows, I see them looking down on me, laughing. Look at that little hunchback. Oh dear, I'm sure it's all in your head, Mr. Natsume. But today, you, Locum lawyer, gave my gloom the boot. You stood firm behind that baronial bench before all those babbling British. You battled to the bitter end, laying bare the baffling truth. And when I beheld the blinding fireworks among the beams of the Bailey's roof, I bellowed, "Behold the best barrister ever born!"
Well, that's very flattering, and we're very pleased for you.
This has given me a wonderful anecdote to recount to my old friends back in Japan.
An anecdote? Is that what's to become of all my hard work? Ah, there you are, my dear fellows. I apologize for keeping you waiting. I rose late this morning.
Oh, Mr. Sholmes, what a pleasure to see you.
I see I am here not a moment too soon. A disaster has been averted. Glad to say.
Oh,
The trial shall begin presently, Mr. Naruhodo, and I wish you the very best of luck. It's just finished. What? No! Then my haste was in vain!
ah! It's you, Herlock Sholmes.
Oh, have we met, sir?
This is Mr. Natsume, the man you had arrested, Mr. Sholmes.
Ah, I see. I failed to recognize you at first. Our previous encounters have taken place in the gloom, either of your bleak lodgings or that prison cell. I simply couldn't place that curious face in the light. Charming.
This is all your fault, Herlock Sholmes. You're the reason I had to go through this terrible ordeal. I'm going to give you a piece of my mind.
My apologies, sir, but I assure you, I have placed you now. You're the fellow who abandoned that poor young lady and ran off, are you not? Had she been taken to a hospital more urgently, I feel perhaps she would have regained consciousness by now.
Oh,
But it was unavoidable, I'm sure. We are but human after all. Anyone would have been shaken by such an experience.
I do feel very badly about how I've behaved.
Oh, never mind now and then. What was it that you wanted to say to me, sir?
Nothing.
Priceless. Oh, I am sorry, really, but that was quite priceless. Or Soseki-san. Still, on the bright side, you've had an extremely entertaining experience without paying a penny. And, it would seem, you were not even found guilty.
But there is no bright side. Whatever do you mean, Mr. Natsume? Even after this, I'm still cursed by the spirits, and now by the Reaper.
Ah, Lord Van Zeeks.
I haven't forgotten, you know, what facing that man in court means. Even if you're found not guilty, you're still doomed. It will be all right, Mr. Natsume.
If the Reaper appears trying to make trouble, I will protect you.
Hi-ya! Ah!
Okay. With a perfectly executed Susato takedown. Much as I like being turned on my head, a bit of a warning might have been nice next time, Miss Susato. So, Mr. Natsume, what do you intend to do now? You mentioned something about recounting your experiences to your friends back in Japan.
Yes, I intend to return to my homeland soon.
Oh,
It has already been a year since I arrived here in Great Britain. I visited universities, libraries, bookshops. I've been honored with the tutelage of professors. I've learned so much about the wealth of literature here and the city it has shaped. And I've come to realize that it is my calling to sail home and tell my fellow countrymen about it. That's very touching, Mr. Natsume.
or in perhaps less veiled terms, you wish to withdraw halfway around the world, escape the terror of the Reaper's curse.
That's not it at all! The more I learn of literature, the more this strange feeling claws at my insides. I feel compelled to return to my roots and attempt to pen a work of my own.
Oh, I see. Work of literature by Soseki-san. Could be an interesting read. And what about Miss Susato and yourself, Mr. Naruhodo? sorry, what about us? Will you return to Japan alongside your mustache compatriots? Why would we?
A week has not yet passed since we arrived in London. And only now does it feel as though we have finally found our feet.
And you are accommodated in a hotel at present, are you not?
That's right.
That's right, but we need to find lodging before it bankrupts us.
I've calculated we can only afford another 10 nights before our entire budget is exhausted.
Well then, you could take my lodgings. Oh, the windowless room?
Ah, but what it lacks in windows, it's more than makes up for with a floor and a ceiling and walls.
Great.
And of course, I'd be happy to leave behind the accursed evil spirit.
Oh my, an evil spirit?
Oh yes. It tries to suffocate you while you sleep. It's an infallible wake-up call.
Well, think about it, if that's alright. Perhaps I can offer a more welcome alternative. Would you consider taking lodgings with me?
Really?
Oh, well, a vacancy has conveniently presented itself. Though it is up in the attic, I might add. Are you sure it isn't just a storage loft? I spoke with the landlady this very morning on the matter of price, and Iris is cleaning the room as we speak. You must come at once. I presume you have no luggage to speak of.
Oh, this is simply wonderful. What an honor to be invited to take lodgings in the great detective's office's attic. I'm too overcome for words.
So suggesting we look elsewhere is out then? Then it's settled. Iris will prepare a welcome dinner this evening. And you must come too, Mr. Natsume. I insist.
I don't know what to say. But thank you. And yes. Wonderful. Then I'll go and complete the paperwork for your formal release, Mr. Natsume. It shan't take long.
Somebody's happy.
Locum, I knew that you wouldn't let me down. I'm truly delighted to have met you here in London.
Likewise, Mr. Natsume. Been a real privilege meeting you too. It's a shame that we're going to have to say goodbye so soon.
Well, I've come to realize I belong in Japan. But Locum, we'll meet again one day.
Yeah, I'm sure. And hopefully by then, I'll be a successful lawyer.
Hopefully by then, I'll be a successful author.
Well, my dear fellow, our carriage appears to have arrived. Shall we go, Mr. Naruhodo? Yeah, Mr. Sholmes. I have little doubt Mr. Natsume will be released in time for dinner this evening. And so, with Soseki-san's innocence successfully established, rode with Mr. Sholmes to what was to become our new home, 221B Baker Street. Oh, okay. The attic. So this is to be our new office, yes. Our office? I rather like the sound of that.
Me too. It's simply wonderful, isn't it?
I hope you can see this, Kazuma. Only a small step. But I'd like to think we're getting a little closer to your dream now. So, my dear fellows, do you like the place? Oh wow, he looks cool. Looks like a normal guy. Ah, Mr. Sholmes. Yes, thank you so much.
It's a delightful room, Mr. Sholmes. I simply adore it.
Good. I'm pleased to hear it. Iris and I are delighted to welcome you.
I hope everyone's hungry. It's nearly time for dinner. Eat as soon as Mr. Natsume arrives. We have a lot to celebrate.
And then Natsume is dead.
Iris, you must let me help you. Alright then, Susie. You can be in charge of the salad. Splendid.
So, Mr. Naruhodo, how does it feel? You have your own office in the capital. Very exciting, actually. Can't help wondering what adventure awaits us. Those were precisely my sentiments when I first established my office at these premises. Until I discovered the dark truth about the city of London, that is. Sorry? London is a glorious place, full of wonder, opportunity, prosperity, and mirth. But the brightest of lights cast the darkest of shadows. Shadows? What do you mean? Well, I believe you're well aware of the murkiness that lies behind London's facade already. So, once again, Mr. Naruhodo. Welcome to London. Of course, at the time, I had no idea of the significance of those words Mr. Sholmes so casually spoke. But it wasn't long before my turn came. Lift the facade and see the true depth of the murk that lay behind it. Alright, we did it. We finished episode 4. Nice. Okay, so we are at the final episode for at least this game, or at least this first half of the game. So the final episode for this is episode 5, The Adventure of the Unspeakable Truth. And then after that, we will then be sent over to the next game, which is, hold on. Shoot, wait, can I? Oh yeah. The Adventures. And then finally Resolve. That's where we gotta be. But yeah. So I'm gonna end it here because I do have to go, because I gotta go sleep soon in about an hour or so. So I'm gonna go ahead and head off. I hope you enjoyed that ending of the episode. And I will catch you guys next time. Tomorrow I will be streaming a MP game tomorrow for Hearts of Iron for World Ablaze. There's going to be quite a bit, probably around like 18 people or so. Probably around like between 16 and 18. Maybe more if we get lucky. But until then, I'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.